Compliance, it's not just a box to check. It's a critical component of your business's overall success. Recently, our team here at Eternal helped save one of our clients almost $2,000 a year in extra fees that they were paying without even knowing, because they were not compliant with PCI DSS. Whether you're running a small business here in Nevada or anywhere else in the world, understanding and adhering to relevant regulations can save you from costly penalties, lawsuits, and other detrimental consequences. Today, I'm going to be discussing some common compliance requirements for small businesses across the U.S. and some specific here to Nevada, and how you can ensure your business meets those standards. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm Michael Canetta. I'm the CEO and founder here at Eternal Networks. And at Eternal Networks, we believe that knowledge is power. So every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, I go live on our socials to discuss educational technology topics that will empower fellow business owners. And these live streams, we really aim to help small business owners feel more confident in their knowledge of business technology and overall cybersecurity. At Eternal Networks, we are dedicated to creating safe and secure environments for businesses to thrive, and staying educated on technology is a key part of fortifying your environment. At the end of the live stream, I'll also be answering questions from the audience. So have your questions ready, throw them in the comments at any point in time, and I'll set aside some time at the end to go over those. All right, so when we're talking about business compliance, what does that mean? What does that entail? What's all included in that? Compliance refers to the process of adhering to laws, regulations, standards, and ethical practices that apply to your business. These requirements can be industry specific, they can be geographical, like a state or a city or a county or a country, or they can apply broadly across various different sectors. Failure to comply can lead to significant financial losses, reputational damage, and even the invalidation of liability insurance claims. In simple terms, compliance is anything that someone else makes you do or requires you to do. This can include federal, state, and local laws, industry regulations, contract obligations, and even the terms of your cyber insurance policy. For small businesses, navigating this complex web of requirements can seem a little bit daunting at times, but it's essential that you understand it and that you follow it for long-term success. Some of the most common compliance regulations, the most known about that are talked about for small business, include some of the following. I'm going to go just explain a little bit about some of these so you understand kind of a little bit more about what we're talking about, some of the specifics. So the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, that's a mouthful. That's why we normally call it HIPAA. HIPAA is for any business that handles protected health information, or PHI. Any of those type of businesses must comply with HIPAA. Non-compliance can result in penalties far exceeding $1 million and severe reputational damage. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the fines for HIPAA a little bit later on. Another one that is very common is the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, or PCI DSS. Any business that accepts credit card payments must adhere to PCI DSS, and non-compliance can result in fines ranging from $5,000 to $100,000 per month, in addition to any fees that your processor, that your merchant account vendor, may be charging for non-compliance. And that depends, the fee range depends on the volume of transactions. Another one is the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR. This one is specific to the European Union. So if your business deals with any personal data of European Union citizens, then GDPR compliance is mandatory, even if your business is based here in the United States. If you have any information on any of the European Union citizens, you have to comply with it per their laws. And fines for non-compliance can reach up to 4% of your annual global turnover. There's also state-specific regulations. Many states, including Nevada, have their own data protection laws that businesses must comply with. These regulations often cover employee data, consumer privacy, and cybersecurity requirements. Another one that's become a lot more talked about in recent years is the Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification, or CMMC. This one is specific to companies that work with the federal government, specifically the defense contractors. So if you're a defense contractor or work with companies that are defense contractors, then you need to comply with CMMC in order to maintain your government contracts. And non-compliance can lead to the loss of those contracts and potentially significant revenue for your organization. If you're a resident of Nevada, we have some compliance laws of our own that you have to uphold in your organization. The first of these I'm going to talk about is the Nevada Data Privacy Law, or NRS 603A. Nevada has its own data privacy law, which is similar to the California Consumer Privacy Act, or CCPA, but it's tailored to Nevada's specific needs. The law requires businesses to implement and maintain reasonable security measures to protect personal information. Additionally, it gives Nevada residents the right to opt out of the sale of their personal information. And since, the majority of our clients are here in Nevada, my audience is mostly Nevada, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of those key requirements for this law here in Nevada. Specifically, we're going to talk about the opt-out mechanism. Businesses that operate and collect consumer data in Nevada must provide an option for consumers to opt out of having their data sold. Unlike the law in California, the CCPA, Nevada's law does not require businesses to offer a comprehensive consumer data request mechanism. You don't have to have a way for consumers to request the information that you have on them. California does. But in Nevada, it focuses primarily on what you're doing with that data and if you're selling that data to anybody else. So it's important that you have that opt-out mechanism if you're doing business here in Nevada. Also, reasonable security measures within this law. Businesses must implement adequate security controls to protect the personal information of Nevada residents. This includes encryption, access controls, and regular security assessments. So if you're not doing those things and your business operates in Nevada, if you don't have encryption, access controls, and you're doing regular security assessments, technically you are in violation of that Nevada statute. Some penalties for non-compliance with NRS 603A can result in fines and legal actions. The Nevada Attorney General has the authority to enforce this law, and the penalties can be up to $5,000 per violation. I probably should, there's another one I want to talk about here, but I've mentioned a couple of times some different dollar amounts per violation. I think it's important to point out that a violation isn't, I didn't protect this data, that's one violation. It's, I didn't protect this 100, data of 100 people, that's 100 violations. So keep in mind that these penalties can stack up very quickly because each individual is counted as a violation. That's for HIPAA and for any of these other statutes that we're talking about. All right, the other one I want to talk about is Nevada Revised Statute, Chapter 597. This is the Consumer Protection and Deceptive Trade Practices section of the law. And this set of laws governs consumer protection and prohibits deceptive trade practices inside of the state of Nevada. Small businesses have to be aware of these regulations to avoid engaging in practices that could be deemed deceptive or misleading. And here's some of the key provisions of these laws. The statute makes it illegal for businesses to engage in practices that are misleading or deceptive to consumers. And what that includes is false advertising, misrepresentation of products or services, and failing to disclose material facts about a product or service. If you're representing your service or product in a way that can be easily misunderstood and deceptive, then you could be violating these laws. Another portion of it is advertising compliance. If you're advertising, you have to make sure that your advertising and marketing materials are truthful and not misleading. For example, if a business advertises a discount, it must honor that discount and clearly state any terms and conditions that apply for that discount. Violations for NRS Chapter 597 can lead to legal actions by the Nevada Attorney General or private lawsuits from consumers. Penalties could include fines, injunctions, or even the revocation of any business license authorizing you to operate within the state of Nevada. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit more, talking about some of the regulations and some compliance that different businesses need to apply, that apply to different businesses. I want to talk a little bit now about what are the effects if you're not compliant. Because I talked a little bit about some of the potential fines with some of these, but not being compliant can really cost you more than money. And I'm going to talk about some of these options. There's often costs associated with non-compliance that many businesses don't think about. Many small businesses look at compliance as an unnecessary expense, right? It's like something that they don't need. But in reality, right, there's a lot more to that. I could tell you a little short story before I get into some of the costs of this. There was an eye doctor in Las Vegas that I went to meet with the doctor and his office manager. And in the course of talking about their technology needs and their cybersecurity needs, I frequently brought up HIPAA because there's regulations and laws that govern how any healthcare provider needs to protect their data, and security needs to be implemented, as I've talked about. And partway through my presentation, this doctor said, I really don't care about HIPAA. I just want my computers to work. And at that point in time, I realized that this doctor was looking at compliance as an unnecessary expense, not something that he just needed his business to function. And I understand that. But there are laws in place to protect this information, right? This private health information and personally identifiable information. And so I'm going to talk now about these fines and penalties and long-term impact on businesses that take that approach of, I don't care about the compliance, I just want to do the bare minimum or the basics. So first of all, there's some financial penalties. There can be fines for noncompliance, and they can vary widely depending on the regulation. Talked about a few. For example, violations of HIPAA can result in penalties ranging from $100 to $50,000 per violation, with a maximum annual penalty of $1.5 million per violation category. So keep in mind, I mentioned, right, a violation is one patient's records or one person's information. And so if your business gets breached and you fall under the guidelines of HIPAA and they determine that you were not compliant with HIPAA, you could be fined $100 to $50,000 per record that has been breached, up to $1.5 million per category. So, and there's different categories, right, that add up. GDPR is another one I talked about. Their violations can lead to fines of up to 20 million pounds or 4% of your annual global revenue, whichever's higher. For PCI DSS, I already mentioned this one, fines can range from 5,000 to 100,000 per month, right? That's not a per record or per transaction, that's per month. And that range depends on the severity and the duration of your non-compliance and the amount of transactions that you have going through your organization. So these fines can add up very, very quickly. In addition to the fines, non-compliance can expose your business to lawsuits from customers or from clients. If your business fails to protect customer data or adhere to contractual obligations, you could be sued for damages. And these lawsuits could result in significant financial settlements, sometimes reaching millions of dollars, depending on the extent of the harm caused. For instance, if a data breach occurs due to non-compliance with data protection laws, customers could file class action lawsuits leading to substantial legal costs and settlements. We're seeing that more and more, where almost within days of a breach happening, class action lawsuits are being filed. There's a plastic surgery office in Las Vegas that had a breach last year, and pre and post operation photos were part of what was breached and taken, and individuals were contacted and ransoms were asked for and everything, and there was a class action lawsuit filed against that medical practice for not following the laws and regulations required to protect those patients' information. We're seeing that more and more across all industries, that very, very quickly these class action lawsuits are being filed. We find that the easiest way to avoid compliance costs is to develop a compliance-first approach. This strategy involves prioritizing compliance in every aspect of your business, operations, all the way from selecting vendors and solutions to training employees and auditing your internal processes. And it all starts by conducting a thorough audit of the tools and services your business relies on, ensuring that all of your systems, right, your phone system, cloud storage, file sharing, whatever digital tools that may or may not come into contact with the protected data, is in compliance with the necessary regulations. If you're unsure about whether a particular solution meets compliance standards, consult with the vendor or seek an independent audit for that. Once you've done that audit and assessment and determine where the compliance is and needs to be done, and you're actively working towards improving that, it's important that you invest in employee training to ensure that your team understands the importance of compliance and knows how to adhere to those relevant regulations. Regularly update your training programs to reflect any changes in the regulatory landscape. And that does change from year to year, right? There's modifications and changes to those regulations. And then finally, compliance is a lot. There's a lot of nuances and different ways of looking at things. Consider partnering with a compliance expert or a managed IT service provider like Internal Networks to help you navigate the complexities of compliance and ensure that your business remains in good standing with all relevant laws and regulations. I do want to point out many regulations and compliance requirements include the necessity of an annual risk assessment or an annual audit. I want to point out to you that getting in the mindset of only reviewing things once a year is very, very dangerous. Things change daily, weekly, monthly. Any changes to your network, your environment, your computers, the software that you use could open you up to non-compliance. And so if you're only looking at that once a year, let's say you look at it January 1st and January 5th, something changes in your environment. There's a new software update. You've changed vendors for some other program. You could potentially only have been in compliance from the 1st to the 5th, and things change. And so it's important that yes, you have to do an annual deep dive in that, but don't think that you only have to look at it once a year. Make sure that if you have compliance requirements, that you're looking at that on a regular basis and evaluating any changes in your organization so that you have that compliance necessary so that you're protected from any of those additional risks. If you'd like me to dive deeper into any of this compliance, any of these approaches to managing compliance, please let me know in the comments below. We're always looking for topics that are of interest to our audience to be able to help. Compliance is not just a legal obligation. It really is a vital part of protecting your business and your employees' data and also your customers' data, and ensuring that you can have long-term success. By understanding the common compliance requirements and then adopting that proactive compliance-first approach, you can safeguard your business against the hidden costs of non-compliance and positioning yourself for growth in your organization. If you have any questions about compliance, like I said, post them in the comments. I'll be answering questions here in just a moment. If you feel that you're paying fines or additional fees and would like somebody's opinion on that, reach out to me. We can do a quick discovery call and talk about it. Send me a direct message. Use our website, and I'd love to talk about that and see how we can help you to get compliant and avoid any of those additional expenses that are unexpected. All right, you can also join with us to discuss compliance in our weekly in-depth discussion about cybersecurity and technology for your industry. That happens in our cybersecurity briefings. We host those every Thursday at 1 p.m. They're free. They're weekly, where we bring local business owners together to talk about the specific challenges faced in our industries. And we tailor each of those sessions to those that register and attend. So if we get some healthcare people, we're going to talk about healthcare requirements and needs. If we get somebody that's in construction, a contractor, general contractor, we'll talk about some things specific to that. Some weeks we have a mix, and we talk about some things that are unique across all industries with some information about some of the specific industries. So come join with us. We'd love to chat with you about kind of what's going on the state of cybersecurity in general, as well as what's going on within your specific industry niche. So you can check out the available dates via the link below, or scan the QR code on the screen to ensure that you have a spot in that. We obviously can't accept everybody. We have limited spots to make sure that it's an open and good conversation. We're excited to continue working together to strengthen our community, cybersecurity, and technology knowledge. All right, let's see if we got any questions from our audience here. Amber, great question. So Amber says, great. How can I, as a patient, be sure that my medical providers are compliant and protecting my personal health information? That's a really great question, Amber. So there's lots of different ways you can do that. One option is there's actually a wall of shame, is what some people in our industry call it. But you can go to Human Health Services website, federal government, and you can see which medical practices have had HIPAA violations and had fines. It's public. Anybody can see that. So just like so many things, right, in our world today, if you're going to go buy a new product or service, we research, right? We go and see what the reviews are and other things. You can go on there and do some research and see if they've had any violations in the past to help you determine that. Many organizations now are also posting on their website what they do to protect their patients, their clients, their customers' information. So you can go to their website and see if they have anything posted on there specific to that. You can also call and ask them, right? When you're calling to schedule your appointment, say, hey, I'm hearing about all of these breaches of healthcare organizations. What are you doing to protect me and my information? And ask them if they have a packet or some information for that. If you do that and they provide details and you have any other questions on, they say they're doing this or that, is that enough? Come back and comment again, and I would gladly take a look at that and give you my expert opinion on that. Let's see if we have any other questions from the audience. I don't see any other questions on there. Thanks for joining us today, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching after the fact. Appreciate your time. Hopefully this was useful information. If you do have any questions about this topic or any other cybersecurity topics in general, you can always reach out to me via direct message. You can contact our office, email the team through our website at itnet.works. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you more next week.